Hello, welcome to fall term. This is Ethics and Communication. I'm the professor, Sarah Sheldrick, and this video here specifically is to go over the syllabus and the course overview of what you can expect in reading materials, which I have the books right here, or we have assignments I'm going to look at and class policies, the late work policy. I'm going to talk about all of that in this video. You're going to see a lot of me this term on video in this box because this is an asynchronous class and online. But even though we are online, and that means all of us are kind of sequestered away in our own places, we're going to find ways to build community, connect, and most importantly for ethics, we have to have dialogue. Dialogue is an integral piece of it, and it's a communication course, so of course we're going to be communicating a lot. So not only are you going to see videos of me, I'm going to be seeing a lot of videos of you. So let's get into the syllabus here. I have just opened it up on my computer. Oops. I've just opened it up on my computer and you can follow along. This is COM 370 Ethics. It's 4 credits, 4 credit hours a week. That would mean of content that I give you is I have to give you about 4 hours of content. I am not going to talk for 4 hours, I promise you that. Maybe a little over an hour sometimes, but that would be too much even for me. But there's videos and reading and vocabulary pages, all sorts of things to interact with so you can find your way through the materials. This is interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication is the study of the conversation. What is happening in a dialogue, especially in the dyad, meaning 2 people, maybe 3 sometimes. So maybe a small group, but small group is actually considered its own category. So we're just going to really focus on what's happening in a dialogue conversation with a dyad. And that means we are going to look at what is our responsibility, our ethical responsibility in conversation. Maybe you already have an idea of what you expect when you enter into a conversation with someone. You expect someone maybe to be honest, to be authentic, to be themselves. You might have your own expectations and norms about how people show up in that conversation. So, what we do in this class, as we're focusing on interpersonal communication, is we're going to look at all of these different ethics and philosophies and ethics, from really classical ethics of like Plato and Aristotle and Socrates. We're going to dive right into that, but we're also going to want to branch out into different groups of people that have developed their own philosophies that aren't from Western world. Meaning we're going to look at some indigenous cultures, ethics, and from I will now I got to pull up the list so I don't. Oh, I have a whole list in the syllabus of all the different ethics and things we might look at, from the Black American experience to Hawaii and some of the indigenous Kapu Aloha. We want to look at some Japanese philosophies, bamboo philosophy or Kintsugi. Please excuse my pronunciation. And so we do everything from really traditional ethics and Kantian and utilitarian, but then we dive into all these other ones. And from all of these philosophies and ethics that we're going to study all term, you are going to bring together to start navigating what is your own way of navigating morality, responsibility in conversation for yourself and for others. So you will create different assignments to navigate, find your own compass. That's the word, compass, to navigate by. And we will draw on all these different things as we learn about them to keep building it through the term. On the first page of the syllabus, You have my information on how to contact me. It's also in the Start Here module. And there's a Zoom link so we can jump on Zoom. On Sundays, I have an open Zoom drop in on Sunday afternoons. I notice Sunday afternoons is sometimes the one time as a student you can get to your work. So I like to be available even on a Sunday for a drop in. If you just want to drop in and say hi, or you can make an appointment. I have a Calendly link with appointments that you can open up. If you prefer to be in dialogue with me, if you online is like not your best way of learning, I'm really here to interact with you. It's just me. I'm right here. So just make an appointment and we can jump on. I would love to meet you with you and have a conversation and answer any questions and get to know you. So that invitation is open. Also on the front page is my accessibility statement. And from Western Oregon University, there are some accessibility uh, things that I have built into the course, and I'm always looking for suggestions or things that we can just make the class accessible as much as possible within the boundary of what we have going on here. There are some constraints that we're always dealing with, but if there is something that I can help with, let me know, or let's go through DAS, the Department of Accessibility, the Disability Service Office on campus. There are other programs on campus that I have listed how to contact those so you can get help if you need it along the way. The second page is the student conduct and academic integrity and self-care. This is about student responsibility. There's an AI generation, like language model statement that I've created on here. And this is an online class, so you have technology requirements like you need internet and you need something reliable and consistent. You need a camera. You need good to be able to create good sound so we can hear you in video presentations or in team dialogues. I'll talk about that in a bit. If you feel like you might need some help with this, let the college help you. Let me help you if I can. The library has, you can come to the library. You could set up to do video presentations from the library where you can have reliable internet service. They might actually have sometimes equipment you can check out if you want a laptop or a device that has a camera, or you can use your own smartphone for video presentations if you want to put it in landscape mode or portrait mode for making one of your presentation videos. So there's lots of different ways, or the computer help desk. Anyway, there's the technology information is on Canvas, but it's also here on the syllabus. So make sure you look through that. Being a student is difficult. It's really hard. It's stressful. Your things are coming at you all the time. I'm doing everything I can to be consistent and available for you, but please take care of yourself along the way. And that means looking ahead at what's coming up and knowing your own learning style and what works for you to minimize the stress of due dates and new. Every, I feel like even if you are excited to learn and curious and you can't, this is your favorite topic, it still can be really stressful diving into these things because they're new and there's a lot of uncertainty. If you've never had me as a teacher before, you're going to have to get to know me. And I definitely have my own style that you'll have to get used to. Those of you who've had me before are probably laughing at that right now because I definitely have a very signature way that I go about things, as you will see. Okay, the next page in the syllabus is grading. This is where I talk about what is 100%, what's 90%, 80%, and how I view those and what's happening if you're getting that grade. I have my late work rubric here. Sorry, it's getting late for me here. um, Late work rubric is And let me go over that right now with you because it is important for us to understand that I have some natural built-in extensions built into the class. So almost all our homework assignments are due at 9 p.m. Okay. Most online assignments on Canvas are due at 11:59 p.m. because that's the autofill that Canvas created. I go in and I change it to 9 p.m. That would be a great reason to drop into my office hours and we can talk about why I've done that. Uh, but for us, it's 9 p.m. But maybe you don't want to be done at 9. Maybe you don't want to turn it at 9 p.m. You want to turn it in at 11:59 p.m., the way you're supposed to, the normal way. Well, you can, and you will not receive a late point penalty at all. You have up to 12 hours from the time of the due date, so till 9 a.m. the next morning, where you will not lose any points for turning it in. If you need that time, take it. It's yours. After 9 a.m., after the 12-hour mark, up to 72 hours, you will lose 20% of the points possible. So if it's a 10-point assignment and you turn it in after 12 hours, you lose 2 points. So you can still get an 8 out of 10 for turning it in. I still accept late work. It's still open, but after 72 hours, the assignment does close. So let's keep that in consideration. Uh, Another good reason is maybe you push that assignment, you've been working on it, it needs a little bit more, but you just are not feeling well and you want to go to bed. Just go to bed, set your alarm in the morning, wake up in the morning and do the last finishing touches and get it turned in. And you got a good night's sleep. Your health is important. So if you need that sleep, take it. I also have uh, another way to not have points taken off an assignment, and this is for flow, uh, workflow, and flexibility. So these are called flex tokens. So you have 3 flex tokens you can use through the term as you need them, and this can push you past the 12-hour mark up to that 72-hour mark when the assignment closes, where you won't lose any late points at all. No late points. Just be graded on the merit of the work you submit. That means that if you submit an assignment after the 12-hour mark, you can write in there, I would like to use one of my flex tokens, and I will have in the assignments, there'll be something that says flex tokens. Somewhere at the end of week 1, I'll put in all 3 of the tokens for everybody. And then as you turn in work, if you turn in something late after 12 hours and you put that request in, I'll minus one of your flex tokens. It'll be down to 2 flex tokens. And then you won't lose late points on that assignment. And this is to give you a chance to use them as you want. There's a little explanation of it in the syllabus, but in the Canvas site, I have a much longer explanation under the late work policy. So go ahead and go there and you can read through it. If you turn everything in within that 12-hour little window or even early before assignments are due, that's a possibility too. And you're left with 3 tokens, they become 3 extra credit points and you don't need to, they will actually be beneficial. And I have lots of reasons why I do a flex program. I think it makes this work more, I think it makes the class a little more accessible for everyone, and you have some privacy. You don't have to send me an email begging for an extension. You have 3 natural extensions and you can keep your privacy. You don't have to owe me an explanation. You just say, can I use one of my tokens? Nope. The end, right? And then you can, because the flex tokens are there in the grading center, you can track how many you have left if you're using those. So assignments are still due within 72 hours of the due date. If an assignment is due on Sunday and you have until Wednesday, 9 p.m. to get it into me before the assignment closes. Once the assignment closes, I do not accept late work. Okay, well, accept late work. I do not accept after 72 hours of late work. So, okay, next one is the fall 2025 overview page. This is where I do a little bit on quality of work, but now we're to the reading. So you do have to get a book for this class. There are 3 books that you can choose from in the class, and I'll talk about each one. The first book, We Need to Talk by Celeste Headley. This is a class about dialogue and conversation, and she writes a book here about all different things about things to think about over talking, how do electronics get in the way, some of the research on that, how to be concise, how to ask questions, how to be curious, and how to listen, right? We're developing our listening skills when we talk about conversation, not just our speaking skills. And I would put more emphasis in the listening, on the listening side of that. So this is the first book you can choose from. I've used it for years and I use it in a lot of different classes, but this is the one that I think it works best in. If you've read this book before, let's stretch ourselves and choose from the other 2. This one is a little bit different. What Money Can't Buy. I thought money could buy everything. Nope. The Moral Limits of Markets by Michael Sandel. Michael Sandel was one of the most popular professors before he retired at Harvard, who was an ethics professor. And he really connects ethics and morality to money, and how does money interrupt our interpersonal relationships or sense of identity. We look at the markets of life and death. We look at names and naming rights and branding. There's all different kinds of things. This book has a lot of really intense topics in it, so get ready, hang on if you choose this book, but it's really interesting. And even if you're not into economics, but you are really interested in that idea, can money buy happiness, or what can't money buy? Um, and I'd be curious if you read this book, what your answer to that question is. We will be watching quite a, Michael Sandel is a big contributor to the class. We'll watch one of his lectures 1 week from his Harvard, the lectures back when he was teaching at Harvard, and they're still pretty relevant and they stand the test of time. So we're going to dive into his stuff along the way. The last book is Aziz Ansari. He's a comedian, and he wrote this book with a sociologist doing research on modern romance. And so he's going to talk about online dating. Actually, there's quite a bit of pictures in here, and well, not quite a bit, but definitely looking at online conversations and texting. And because Aziz Ansari is a is a comedian, we're definitely going to be making fun of modern romance and all the things that are going on. In fact, in week 1, I have a little bit of his stand-up routine in the video, so you can watch him do one of his little bits on texting right away. I think like this is really about this is trying to combine this idea of research and sociology and communication with romance. So are you interested in romance? Are you interested in business? Are you interested in dialogues? Dialogue is the whole class, but each one kind of has a different way to enter the class. Find something that sounds interesting to you. We also have another book called Ethics 101 that is posted to the class. That one is, you don't have to buy that book. There'll be excerpts available online. It's really a reference book because when we talk about utilitarianism or bamboo philosophy, those things are all in there. And we want, it's just sometimes nice to have a little reference book just to read about it. We also will use the Stanford Philosophy Open Encyclopedia Philosophy page that we will go to get interesting information. Okay, so one of the things about this class is you are required to speak extemporaneously, which is what I'm doing right now. It means I am not reading, I didn't memorize, I didn't prepare anything, but I am telling you information. When you make videos, I'll expect you to speak in the style I'm speaking now, which means I'm not perfect and I'm not editing this in any way. In fact, I purposefully don't edit it if I make a pause or a mistake. A lot of the videos you see on YouTube of someone talking and giving information, it's usually they splice out the pauses and they splice out mistakes and they jam it all together to make it go quickly because they know people click away so fast. But in to honor that we are trying to study communication and listening, I talk in my normal rhythm. Sometimes there's a pause. Sometimes I make mistakes, and that's okay. It's okay for me, and it's okay for you. I like you just the way you are, and I want to really emphasize how important this is, not just as a skill for you to learn, but when it's really important to honor the listening ear. And the listening ear does a lot better when it doesn't have to listen to reading. I mean, not that, I mean, audible books and reading is its own art form. That's what we call manuscript driving speaking. And manuscript driving speaking is a very specific skill. Uh, and we would teach that in a very different type of class. But in this class, we're in ethics of communication. We're talking about dialogue. Let's practice our extemporaneous skills. Just as an example, if I were to read this, I just said it extemporaneously, but I'm just going to read it and I would just want you to hear the difference. Speaking style, extemporaneous. Extemporaneous speaking is a conversational style. It refers to delivering speech where the speaker prepares and practices in advance but does not use a full script, nor does the person memorize the speech verbatim. Being confident with this style can make one feel more confident in interviews, dating, family discussions, workplace, problem solving, or any situation where articulate communication is needed. Do not read any prepared statements. Use vocabulary and provide examples that reference back to class materials. Make sure you are in a quiet, okay, I'm not, I can't read anymore. Blah. I even hate doing it. Um, it's me again. So I'm just curious, how did that sound? What do you think? Any thoughts? Difference between extemporaneous and reading? Some people maybe followed it, and I'm pretty good at it. I am a classically trained actress. My bachelor degree is in theater arts, so I have definitely been trained to read the words for the listener's ear, but we're not doing that here in this class. All right, the class also comes with a content warning. Specifically in this class, when we talk about moral and ethical dilemmas and paradoxes between, uh, there's there's a paradox between self-interest and responsibility for others. Where, how do we manage that? Where does responsibility lie? If you say your family is first, family is number one, you will sacrifice and do everything your family, but what about your country? If your country needs your help and they're calling you into service and you decide to join the military, is it the country comes first or family? What if your grandmother is dying or you have a child who is sick? This is what we mean about there's a paradox in responsibility when we pledge our loyalty and allegiance, and how do we navigate those? That was just one minor example. There's probably better ones that we could all come up with together. I'll be curious what you all come up with. So when we think about that, we're going to come down to the conversation. So we want to see how does that play out in dialogues. That means that we might deal with difficult topics in the class. So be prepared on how you're going to do self-care, know your limit, know when you need to take a break, and who are your people who are going to support you that you can check in on difficult topics we might be grazing through as we go through the class. The last page of the syllabus is a list of the assignments. You have 3 book reports. One of them is the first one is actually not a report. It's just going to be a video you share week 1 where you tell me which book you chose and why. Why did you choose this one? Did you choose this one? Which one was it? That's the first week 1. You have to make a video right away out of the gate. It's about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. So I'm really looking for something within that time frame, with a 36 buffer that tells us about you and what book you chose. You chose for you, why you chose it. I'm really, don't tell me about the book. We all have been looking through the books. We watched things about the book. No, I want to know about you and why you chose this book. So that will be for that first book report assignment. Book report 2 will be a midterm check-in on your book where you'll make a video and the instructions will come on that, another video from me. And book report 3 is towards the end of the term. Okay, so we should have the book finished read by week 8. So you can see I've got these kind of marked up in different ways. But once you get your book, if you do an audio book or this one, look at the time frame and the chapters, and then divide up the time so you can check it off through the term. If you're someone who just likes to sit down and like plow through a book and read it all right away, that's great too. Just track what happened when you were reading it in those divided spaces, because you'll need to go back and you'll be like, I don't remember. Life's too stressful. I don't want to reread it. You don't want to reread it. So make sure you are taking some good notes and getting good quotes out of there so you can weave it into the assignments as we move along. You have ethics dialogues, which are your team meeting assignments. I'm going to assign you to a team. There'll be another video that will go into a lot of depth on that assignment. You have 3 of them to do this term. The first one's around week 3. Then we have one probably around week 7, week 8, week 7. And then another one towards the end of the term around Thanksgiving or week 10. So those are really, I provide you a list of about 10 or 12 questions that you dialogue with everyone and everybody talks. And a lot of the assignment is trying to figure out when to do the assignment. And that's okay. That is dialogue. That is conversation. And I want you to show up for that. The planning of the meeting is a type of difficulty of responsibility for self and responsibility for others. We'll talk about that more as it comes up. There are weekly quizzes. Quizzes are just to check in on the module. So if you've gone through the module, you've looked at the vocabulary and the videos, and you made some notes, you should get through those. The week 1 quiz is really just the syllabus quiz. It's only on this video and the syllabus and the assignments. It's not on, there might be maybe one question on defining ethics, but it's not too much on the week 1 module. But definitely week 2 through week 8, you will have, I can feel it's getting late. My voice is starting to go. You'll have quizzes on the content we're learning and the actual philosophical content. So make sure that you have your notes and everything ready. They are timed. They're 20 minutes long. You have 3 different attempts, so you can retake it, and then the highest score will be chosen. So you might get better and better at it. Okay, let's do that. And if you have a accommodation for a longer one, we'll just make sure that when those open up for you, that it's already naturally built in for extra time if you have an accommodation for that. Make sure you let me know. Alrighty, reflective projects is the last group of assignments. This week you're gonna think about your goal for this class. What do you personally want to get out of ethics as you're learning about it, and your interpersonal relationships and how conversation and dialogue. Maybe you just want to be better at occupying public spaces and random conversations that pop up. Maybe you want to be better in a job interview. Maybe you want to work on your romantic relationship or getting into a romantic relationship and being on the first date. Maybe your goal should just be managing the first 3 dates. And it's okay, keep it small or make it big. It's up to you. Your goal is your goal. When you make your goal statement for the class, really make it about you. If you're just telling me general plateaus or cliche statements, and they're not specific to you, that's when you'll see your grade kind of get marked down. So let's get into it. There's 3 assignments you'll see in here called MAP. MAP 1.0, MAP 2.0, MAP 3.0. These are creative assignments where you might have to make actually brainstorming maps or visual mapping, make images. When I ask you to make images, I'll ask for them to be handmade. So get out your markers and your highlighters and your Sharpies or your crayons or your kids' crayons. Get that stuff out. Because I will not accept digitally made images except on a case by case basis. If you want to make an office hour with me, make an office appointment with me to talk to me about making a digital image, I will grant permission on that on a case by case basis. Otherwise, plan for all 3 of your maps to be made by hand. All right, that is the syllabus. Uh, It's just the first overview. Week 1 has its own tiny desk lecture where I just get into ethics and communication. So some of it I kind of gave a little sprinkles throughout this video, but that's where we'll do the deep dive. So I love good rainbow sprinkles though, right? I'm just thinking if there's something else I wanted to go over before I wrap up this video while I still have you here. I'm around this week uh, in the Start Here module. Just remember there is a link to make an appointment with me, but I do have that Sunday drop-in time, and it's mostly for this class because you are my online class. I have 2 online classes and 2 in-person classes. If you're in one of my in-person classes and you see me on campus, you can always use a little after class time if you have a question about this class, that's fine. But also if you, I feel like that I just really like to reserve a drop-in time online where you can just click on the Zoom link and I can let you into that Zoom room. Uh, and if other people are there, we can have or if you need a private appointment, you can make that as well. So, all right, everyone, have a good term. And I'm really looking forward to getting to know you and reading and watching and listening to all of your work. Bye, everyone.